Welcome back to the Urban Monk. I am hanging out on the ground with a dear friend from college who's doing so much cool work now that I was just like, hey, come on in, let's play. Tiffany Chambers-Goldberg, hello.
Hi.
Hi. So yoga therapy, there's physical therapy, there's yoga, and now there's this emerging field of yoga therapy.
Yeah, exactly.
What does it do?
So the difference between yoga teaching and yoga therapy is there's a paradigm shift that's happening. So senior teachers and students are noticing that they're getting injured. And the injuries are very often stemming from repetitive stress injury. So having a yoga practice where one would do the same thing over and over and over again. And the hypermobiles, the ones who are saying, or who you would look to and say, oh, that person's really good at yoga. Like, I'm very hypermobile. So I had this career as a yoga teacher because I can demo anything, right? Right. But I'm the last person who needs yoga. What I need is stabilization. What I need, is strength. I need loading on my joints to create health. Someone else who has less elastin in their tissue, they may need more of the quote unquote standard, yoga, whatever you want to, quantify that as. But it's this major shift that's happening where teachers are coming out and saying, I'm injured now. And I'm not anti-yoga, that's not it. It's just about broadening this conversation to say what's missing here and why over now 5 years for some or 15 years from now, why are they getting injured when they felt great for so long or,
Sure.
Yeah.
It's something that I've seen a lot back when I was running my practices is the local hot yoga and Bikram studios.
Yeah.
Were sending me all my patients.
Yeah.
And so it was good for business, right? Because people were getting hypermobile and hurting their joints. And I was just at some point I'm like, what the hell are you guys doing over here?
Yeah.
I went and took a class. I was like, oh, this does feel good. And I'm just like way outside the range of like my joint was not stable in the position I was in because my muscles loosened too much.
Well, you lose proprioception. You no longer know where your body is in space because your body is so hot and you have no idea what end range is, right? There's a reason why the brain is telling you stop here.
Yeah, this is a bad idea.
Yeah. There's a place to stop. And you're not supposed to look like I do. So when a yoga teacher comes around and says, I'm going to sit on you, or I'm going to push you down into an extreme posture, you're supposed to look like this Ashtanga map that says this is this pose and this pose and this pose, and that's the goal. That's not the goal. The goal is you have an acetabulum, a hip socket that's shaped a certain way, and I have a hip socket that's shaped a certain way. My femur will move in that socket only in the way that my femur is shaped. So you're not supposed to move like me, right? A yoga therapist is attuned to be able to say, oh, this is how your leg is moving. So this is the direction that we need to go, or this is what we need to stay away from, or this is what we need to strengthen, being able to sense where their student is in their own capacity to move.
Yet another example where one size fits all doesn't work.
Right.
Doesn't work.
Right.
So we've got a challenge here today. If you haven't noticed already, we're not at the table, we're on the ground. I just got back from a week and a half in Colorado, 3 days of which were intense skiing with one of my buddies who lives up there. And I'm a great skier, and I'd had to keep up with this dude because he lives up there, right?
Yeah.
And so, my quads were tight. I feel like I won a fight, but like in the 12th round.
Yeah.
I'm just like. So what happened was we finished. There was a storm coming in, and I'm just really like, if I could see my kids before they go to sleep at night, like that's just it's the best day for me, right?
Yeah.
And so I had a late night flight, and we just like skied all day, jumped in a car, raced to an airport, got onto an earlier flight, sat on the flight, and then Ubered home. And I get home, and I'm just like, stiff, right?
Yeah.
So this is actually perfect because here you are. Like this isn't premeditated. Like this was planned, but like I worked my way into needing this, so this is perfect. So what I'd love to do is do this with you, right?
Yes.
And so we got all sorts of props and cool stuff over here. I don't know what I'm in for, but we're
balls.
Going balls.
I like my balls.
Yeah, I like my balls too. I don't want to sit on them. So let's figure out like how to do this and work the magic on the mat or whatever.
Yeah.
And you could talk through. One of the things I wanted to do this year was to take the show on the road and also get the show, yes, I like the conversational things that we do on the show, but also just start demonstrating things and doing things that are more kind of visually integrated with what we're saying. So here we go. Here's your workshop, right?
Yeah, let's do it.
So how do we start? What do we do? Let's just do your routine, and you're mic'd up, so let's talk about it.
Great. So let's start with ball work. So a lot of yoga therapy also that I specifically do, because yoga therapists, there are many of us who will specialize in a certain kind of mode with it, but I'm also very much in the mode of repair. So I'm trying to talk to the connective tissue that you have that you've just now possibly overused while you were skiing, and what happened, you're saying that you had a little bit of thoracic outlet syndrome that you were feeling, you had some lumbar spine stuff that was going on. So we'll address all of those tissues, but understanding that this is, of course, holistic. So you may tell me that you're having back pain, but I also want to go into your abdomen, because your abdomen talks to your spine, yeah? So let's start with the balls. Let's get off of these cushions.
Okay.
I don't even think we need the mat. We can just use this beautiful, unless you want some more cushion.
No, I'm cool, whatever.
Okay, let me hike over here.
Yeah. Yay, yoga.
Let's lie on your back.
Head which direction?
Either direction is fine, whichever way.
Do you guys care, Lorenzo? All right. Oh, any opportunity I have to lie on my back right now is welcome. I'm a dad. This is great. Okay.
So first and foremost, let's just start with breath. So we'll take a look at and a feel for how you are currently breathing in this state. So we have 3 abodes of breath. We have the belly breathing, right? We have this thoracic breath in the ribs, and then you also have this upper clavicular breath. The upper clavicular breath meaning your emergency breath. This is where they're running from the tiger, the basketball players running up and down the court like, and trying to get this quick breath to get the upper cupula of the lungs filled so they can keep going, right? This is primarily where most of today people are living and breathing, meaning that the diaphragm isn't moving properly, right? Meaning that the belly is also not moving properly. And all of that means that the nervous system is an up-regulatory state. And all of this work, first and foremost, is trying to get the body to down-regulate so the body can move better. Yeah?
And come out of duress and basically be in a relaxed state.
Correct. Yeah. And to be highly attuned and intelligent to what does my body actually need today. Yeah. So you can finely tune in this very rapid pace that we are on today. I can just roll for 5 minutes and be ready and set and move on with my day. I don't need necessarily an entire hour, although that's beautiful to have. You don't always have it. So these are quick fixes, and these are your rubber drugs, really, to help you.
Cool.
So, so I first want you, to take a breath into the belly, and then let that expand up into the chest. Yeah, and up into the throat. Yeah, beautiful. This is a prime specimen for breath. This is not the norm of most people, right? You know how to be able to access all of that, and that's beautiful. So we'll start with your upper thoracic spine. You'll take these toted balls right behind you. These are yoga tune-up balls. Yoga tune-up was created by Jill Miller. Originally, she's my mentor of about 15, 20 years.
Cool.
We'll bring these right below C7. So C7 is the first really stegosaurus-like vertebra that one would find right behind the neck. And you'll clasp your hands behind your head, interlace your fingers all the way. Yeah. Bend your knees so your feet are on the floor. Take an inhale in, and on the exhale, I just want you to lift your head up off of the floor. Yeah.
That's it?
Yeah, stay here. Take a breath in. On the exhale, lift your hips up off of the floor. Yeah. And then I want you to start to chug, to kind of plow your way up and down your vertebra. So you try to push and roll over the balls, and I'm going to hold this down because men's shirts are often cotton loose and the balls can kind of get tangled in them. You see if you can move back and forth. Now, all of this, right, that face is telling me that the connective tissue here is a bit adhered, right? And then you roll back up. We'll just stay right in the upper thoracic spine. Yeah, bring your hips down for a moment, because based on what your face is telling me, bring your head down. Yeah, more isn't always better either. So there are many different entry ways to get in. So let's do it this way too. Bring your arms down by your sides.
It feels fantastic.
Good. Take a breath. So you also, can you get a sense here that your chin is jutted up towards the sky?
Yes.
So that also gives information of what's happening here in the back of the neck. Yeah, but keep your head down. We'll keep your head down for right now. I'm going to see if it comes down in a second. Lift your hips and try to push here and roll your balls up and down here.
How far down? Like mid
just
T?
like mid scapula, right around rhomboids. Yeah.
And stop at C7?
Yeah, you can go back, back and forth. That's it. So what we're doing is getting rid of the way that you have been habitually using your body, which is why there are adhesions, why connective tissue may get stuck and less mobile, because you've been using the same musculature over and over and over again, and it kind of starts to brace itself. Yeah, and then pull yourself right back down again, and I want you to bring your hips down. Yep, I want you to roll to your side, to your right side, roll back onto your back and breathe. And just connect to, does just that few seconds of rolling change the way that your vertebra feels on the floor or your connection to your breath?
Mm-hmm. It's interesting. It's already starting to open up that kind of thoracic outlet thing happening in the left shoulder.
Right.
Huh.
Yeah. So, do you have a question?
No, I'm just kind of feeling around. I just feel more spacious in my thoracic spine.
Yeah.
Feels good.
Great. Good. Mm-hmm. So let's take an individual ball and take this, and you'll bring it right in between the shoulder blade and your spine.
Pick a side?
Pick a side, any side.
Let's do the
side
that's hurt.
Yeah. Yeah. And then from here, you'll make an L out of your left arm. So your left elbow is on the ground if it can reach. Yeah, great, beautiful, which gives us information that there's some nice opening happening in pec major and pec minor. You take an inhale in and lift your hips up off of the floor. And then on the exhale, you'll do the same chug. You roll over the balls, so the balls move down your back, and I want you to rainbow arc this arm up and over your head. And then you return back to neutral as you come back. So you pull, beautiful, that's it. And back and forth you go, hips up, and you arc over, trying to get a little bit more.
Do you want me to go across the midline?
Yeah, you can.
Cool.
Yeah, absolutely. Yeah, and back again.
Oh, ha ha ha.
Yeah.
This is exactly where it's crunchy.
So in our today of sitting in cars and having constant internal rotation in the arms, in the constant technology, typing, iPhones, iPads, all of that, that is also considered a repetitive stress injury. There's a number of neck, shoulder complaints that I get across the board, and just doing a little bit of this fascial manipulation will start to unwind that tissue, which allows then better breath access. Good. And let's take that ball out, and then you'll take a sensory breath again, just to feel now the differences between what was and the difference between the right and the left.
More spacious, and I kind of feel like the right hip has gotten less cranky by opening the left shoulder.
Right. Reason being that the tissue that's connected to the crest of the hip hooks into the base of the scapula, right? So when we, again, talking about holistically, when we talk to the shoulders, we also affect the lumbar spine, the pelvis, and so on and so on and so on. Yeah.
Feels good.
Yeah, do you want to roll the other shoulder, or do you want to just move on?
Let's try the other shoulder.
Okay.
Yeah,
and you'll find out what's happening on that side. You also have laterality differentiation, right? If you're right-handed versus left-handed, so some of the musculature will be developed more on one side than the other.
Yeah, this is normally my problem side because of a couple injuries over the years that still like to hang out and remind me of their existence. Old friends, I call them.
Yeah, well, we rely on what we rely on until you learn how to produce a movement differently. Yeah, good. Couple more on that side. So what I'm also looking for are staccato movements, right? When the arm gets a little bit kind of jumpy in that motion, which then again gives information about how is that connective tissue moving. We're looking for a streamlined
Fluid flow.
Fluid movement, right, which is how our tissue works. Yeah, take the ball out and then rest that shoulder. Yeah, and you return again to belly breath and ribs and chest. Good. And all of that also talks to the neck.
Feels really good.
Yeah. All right, so let's talk to lumbar spine and your quadratus lumborum muscle and your psoas, which both attach to your the bottom of your 12th rib and to the crest of your hip, depending on who you are, really, because it's really different for everybody a little bit. Yeah. So let's take these larger balls, and you're going to place them instead of horizontal. We'll turn them perpendicular, and we'll bring them below your bottom rib. Let's say on the right side and above the crest of your hip. I'm going to reach over just to feel here. Yeah. Yeah, and it'll be right next to your spine, and it's going to feel most likely a bit like a speed bump as you roll over it. So your hips will move side to side, back and forth. You need it higher. I can see that you need it higher. Higher up below the shoulder blade.
Got it.
Yep.
Okay.
Yep. And then go hips up.
I see.
Yeah, and roll side to side, back and forth.
I don't feel them though.
You don't feel it now.
If my hips are up, yes, so higher.
Yeah.
Okay. Okay.
The hips don't have to be up very high. They can kind of hover. You may just have them up too high.
I see. I'm just so good at bridging.
You feel it now?
Yeah, it feels really great, actually.
So here, intercostals, right, the spare ribs, right, and also this conversation of the diaphragm, the primary breathing muscle that's in the front of your body, so we like to talk about, but you have tails, the crura, the tail of the diaphragm, which is sort of like the tendons of the diaphragm that come all the way down to the lumbar spine. And the diaphragm shares tissue with the psoas and with the quadratus lumborum muscle. So when you now address this area, that means that we also get to gain greater mobility in the diaphragm, which then again means greater ability to downregulate the nervous system, to move into rest and digest.
This feels fantastic.
Yeah.
Like, if I did this for 5 minutes a day,
yeah,
I think I could fly.
Yeah.
Yeah.
The wings are coming. And then bring the balls down a little bit lower. And let's
They're
talk.
kind of rolling themselves down. Or maybe I'm rolling up.
I'm on this side of you, so I can.
Yeah, they seem to kind of be taking the journey.
Yeah.
But it feels really good. It's like what you want someone to do for you in a massage.
That's right.
But then they just kind of move on.
Right,
Like,
that's right.
Stay there. Yeah. Oh,
Yeah, so you take the power into your own hand of how to take care of yourself. You learn the topography of your own body, right?
So right now, as I stay here, I can feel the psoas on the front starting to release.
Right, beautiful.
Less comfortable there, but I can tell it's working.
Yeah.
And again, this is just, moron gets off ski slope and sits in car for too long, right? Like this.
Yeah, it's epidemic of sitting. Yeah, there's a beautiful, brilliant woman, Katie Bowman. Do you know who she is?
I don't.
She's brilliant, but she doesn't have furniture in her home, and she has 2 kids. And they have monkey bars, and they have, equipment, and no couches, no chairs, and
just on the floor.
You don't sit in chairs in that house.
That's great.
Yeah.
That's one of the things I think has plagued modern humanity, right? Is these props that get your postural muscles to just fall asleep.
Right. That's right.
Yeah.
That's right. Yeah.
Oh, this feels really good. Like, this isn't the afflicted side, but I somehow feel like it's doing more to release.
Well, there also is, I would like to say there's every afflicted side is everything.
The whole system, right?
Because we're a sweater, right? You snag a sweater, and it affects the entire diagonal of that sweater. We're no different.
Yeah. That's really interesting, because most people say it hurts here.
Yes.
And that's where they want you to kind of address.
Yes.
And the kinetic chain is just not necessarily, that's not what's afflicted.
Right. Well, fascia is a spider web. So it's the internal scaffolding of our entire body. And it's all holding every single piece together. It's so interesting how we think as we get older and our parts become more distal, right? That we are no longer this one whole being. That when you're like an egg or you're a fetus, right? We're tiny and whole. But does that make sense? Yeah. The further we just have gotten further apart, but the points are still all directly connected to one another.
That dang shoulder. Yeah, exactly. This is so I've kind of rolled it down.
Yeah.
It's now kind of almost just above the sacrum.
Yes.
Is that cool? So
It's good. It's good. I actually want to change what we're doing. So let's take the balls out and then take a feeling breath. Yeah, arms down. And let's just turn your palms up just to keep the chest open as well. Yeah, bring it into the belly, the ribs, and the chest. You might, after that, start to get a sense of the hip flexors in a different way, just that they might feel heavier. Mm-hmm. Because, yes, go ahead.
Less pull on the front iliopsoas, because this thing, I can just feel like it's not wanting to go there anymore.
Yeah. So let's do one of my go-tos, a psoas release. You'll lift your sacrum up onto the block on the second level. Some people would go on the first level, goes right on the sacrum, and then you'll rest yourself down. And let's pull your left knee into flexion and straighten your right leg. Now you
left
can
knee into flexion, straighten the right leg.
Yeah. So on the ground, drop your right heel. Yeah. Pull this knee up into your chest and grab your leg. That's right. Yeah, and take a big breath in. So in the ideal world, we would actually make this more closed chain. So for the hypermobiles, when I was talking about me, right, somebody I can easily kind of flop my foot behind my head. When you use closed chain, which means that you're pushing here against a wall or something that can help to centrify the femur bone in the socket, it's going to help with stabilizing that hip socket and keeping the integrity of the hip a little bit more neutral, right? Very often if I let go, you feel how you externally rotate, right? Because the external rotators could be on tension a great deal of time, especially after, all the skiing that you've done, right? Yeah, and big breath in. And you also get a sense of your foot and how it wants to sickle a bit as well. Yeah, take a big breath in to the belly. Yeah, and the ribs and the chest. Yeah. And the hypermobiles often will feel pain on that flexed left hip when they pull their knee into their chest, or they constantly will say like, oh, my hip is so tight. I just need to do more yoga. I need to do more. My hip is so tight. But it's over flexed. It's overstretched, right?
I'm so hungover. I need more whiskey.
That's right. That's right. Good. Let's release the leg. Bend both knees. Both feet on the floor. Yeah. Take a breath in. And I'll just switch and do the opposite leg.
I don't really stare at the ceiling in here that often. There's a lot going on up there.
There's a lot you see when you get on the floor. Totally. All right, so see if you can propriocept your left leg and see if you can feel for neutral, which means you want to adduct it a little bit more.
Adduct?
Adduct, that's yes, yep. Yep, a little bit more.
Wow,
yeah.
It does not feel like neutral.
Right. It probably feels like you're almost diagonal on the other side of the...
Yeah, it feels like I'm crossing my midline.
Right. It's so fascinating how minuscule amounts of movement will change how you feel. Yeah, big breath in. Mm-hmm. Yeah, your extensor and your toe here too has something going on. That's probably also from your boots from skiing. Ski
boots are the worst thing I've ever invented.
Yeah. Yeah. They don't make minimal ski boots yet.
No. It's like when you take them off, it's like someone just stopped punching you in the face.
Oh, yeah.
Like, oh, wow. It's so much better.
It's like women in high heels.
Totally.
That's why Prince died, you know. He died from high heels.
He's just not as resilient as all the women out there.
No, no. The body can only take so much. Good. And then let's release. So both feet on the floor. And let's bring the block down one level.
And by one level, you mean
so
just
bring
a
it,
notch on the sacrum?
No, bring it down so it's not so high. So yeah, that's
This
right.
way?
Nope, yeah, that way.
That way?
Exactly, right. Because you've just been in a back bend.
Yeah.
That entire time was a back bend, but it was supported. So what we've done is created a new normal in your lumbar spine, and we're going to ease you out of it, because that quadratus lumborum that attaches to the 12th rib and the hip, and the psoas that also attaches to the 12th rib and to the inside of your femur bone have now a new relationship. And then we'll take the block all the way out from underneath you and bring the hips down to the floor and take a breath there. And then straighten your legs and just get a sense here of a change that may have occurred in the pelvis and the lumbar spine.
Yeah, I feel like the fronts are less grabby. I feel like the lordosis, it's like I actually feel like I want to go more into lordosis in the low back. Like I'm trying to kind of go back to that position.
Yeah.
But I have to almost like push my low back into the ground now. It's just it's wanting to kind of
to pull.
To
Yes.
pull.
Yeah.
Yeah.
So let's talk to your diaphragm and your rectus abdominis and your enteric system, which is kind of my favorite stuff to talk about. So we'll flip you over like a pancake so you become prone. And this pliable, squishy ball is now going to go into your diaphragm. Okay? So you can find it on yourself. It goes just below the xiphoid process, just the bottom tip of that sternum, which ends differently for everybody. It's the first kind of squishy-ish part. In the best of worlds, if you can, see if you can cross your forearms, like you're making a genie wish, and drop your head down, right? And right away, I want you to posteriorly relax your glutes. Yeah, exactly. So the second we start talking to the diaphragm, the whole body goes on kind of high alert, especially if it's not used to getting palpated. So I want you to inhale, inflate, and hold your breath at the top. Hold the breath, tighten the belly without tightening your shoulders and your glutes, which you just did. Yeah, and exhale completely. Yeah. So you hold the breath, tighten the belly, and then exhale and become receptive and allow the ball to plunge its way, kind of burrow itself back towards your spine. Yeah. And you're going to continue that same sequence while I talk a little bit about this. So entering your diaphragm is really this question. It's asking really, how are you? Like really, how are you? When someone comes and asks you, how are you doing, man? Right? And then all of a sudden you take a deep breath and the emotion may start to kind of pour out of you, because it's holding on to whatever emotional space you have been in, whether it's now or even 5 years ago when you had a thoracic injury and your diaphragm decided it was going to hold itself, right? Yep, so you can relax your shoulders a little bit more, yeah. And again, big breath in, you hold the breath, and bit by bit by bit, that diaphragm will start to become a little bit more supple and a little bit more mobile. And if your diaphragm isn't moving properly, then you're not really getting full mobility. You're not getting the breath in that you could possibly be getting. And your whole enteric system, your gut, isn't necessarily working either at its optimum for you, because those also share tissue. So this also has to do with digestion. And then let's see if you can begin to rock a bit from right to left, a bit of a canoe. Let it come from your hips and less from your shoulders. Let your hips move a little side to side. So now we start to kind of carve out the sides underneath the rib cage. So you also have, of course, liver and gallbladder and spleen and stomach. P.S. Don't do this on a full stomach because you'll be talking to that lunch that you had, right? Yeah. And you can tell just by how quiet you are also that it's intense.
It's intense. It's hard to talk.
Yeah. But all tissue is fair game to roll, right? Why do we go into the massage therapist and say, I really need my back massaged and my shoulders and my neck, but nobody ever talks about their psoas or their diaphragm?
Yeah, it's funny is I got a lot of abdominal massage when I was in India because they do a lot of that.
Right.
In America, no one even wants to touch the front because
they're terrified.
There's so much like weird sexual shit that like no one wants to even address. And so it's like, you can't get a good tummy massage in America.
Yeah.
Wow, this is really interesting. Actually, I feel like the intercostal muscles are like starting to scream and get cranky and release as I release the diaphragm.
Yeah.
Because I just never get work done on the front.
That's right. And that's why these balls in particular are so beautiful, because you do it for yourself. Right? You don't need to rely on somebody else. This is also the mode to deal with anxiety, right? To deal with eating disorders. I suffered from bulimia for a huge number of years in my youth, and all of this work of working with the diaphragm, of working with the enteric system, and the entire torso, which is the whole front and back of the body, helped to heal a big portion of that. But anyone who has asthma, whose lungs and diaphragm are not working at their optimum, this is also a major way in to improving asthmatic conditions. Yeah, that's it.
I feel like it's opened considerably just in this. Again, it's hard to talk, but it feels really good. It's not comfortable,
right?
But it's like a good hurt. Right, like you just know it's opening things.
Right, and it becomes more comfortable over time. Right, the more and more that you palpate and you talk to that tissue, right, the more compliant it will be. Let's bring the ball down to the navel. So you'll be thrilled, most likely, to get off of the diaphragm. But now we talk to the navel and we talk to the enteric system.
We have two sets of squishy balls. One is the faux soup I had at lunch. We'll see if it matches this carpet. No, I love this. Let's keep rolling.
Okay, so same sequence. I want you to inhale, inflate, hold your breath at the top. Try not to constrict the posterior chain. And then exhale and become receptive and let it start to make change. So when we talk to the enteric system, the gut and the psoas from this side, right? Because before we talked to the psoas when you were supine on the block, and now we get to actually palpate the psoas with the squishy ball. We also begin to talk about serotonin levels, right? 90% of our serotonin is created in our gut. And that is where our nervous system is also living. Right? What are we really hungry for? Is it food? Is it affection? Relax your shoulders again.
I feel like I'm melting into this thing.
Yeah, that's exactly it. You're like this archaeologist, right?
Indiana Jones.
Yeah. Temple of.
Temple of self.
Begin to rock your hips a bit from side to side. Yeah, back and forth. So this also begins to change the relationship of the vertebra behind you. So when the enteric system is on tension, when the 6-pack, which is really 10-pack, right? You have 5 on each side. And there's been years and years of people strengthening, trying to get ripped. You need your belly to be supple. If your belly is so ripped that you can't move properly, and you're sacrificing your breath, and you're sacrificing the mobility of your spine because of this outward layer that really doesn't even do a whole lot for you. I care more about what's underneath the rectus abdominals, your internal and external obliques and your transverse abdominals, everything that really helps to stabilize you.
Well, that's just it. I mean, they've mistaken the abs for the core.
That's right. Yeah.
So even the pelvic floor is much more important than that. Right?
Yeah.
Cabling up. This feels great.
Yeah, good. And everybody will have a different relationship here. For some people, their diaphragm, will feel really pleasant, and their gut will not feel so.
Mm-hmm.
Depending, yeah. So someone who's dealing with IBS, this is vital. I mean, I honestly believe if I were to give an instruction for somebody to pick one thing that I teach, it would be this. I care more about this because this affects you systemically on such a grandiose level. And you get the biggest bang for your buck just by beginning to talk to the front of the body. And let's bring the ball down then to low belly, transverse.
Just above the pubic bone?
Yeah.
Good thing I don't have to pee.
That's right. That's right. Good. And usually the easiest place to roll for most people, but same thing here. You inhale and see if you can differentiate the tightening here. You can tighten just the transverse. And if everybody sees too that his sacrum started to move as he started to do that as well. Oh, that was nice release. Yeah. Yeah, and you just started to have a little bit of an undulation in your spine with your breath with that. That's beautiful. Yeah.
Feels great. I'm glad you could see it.
Yeah. And then you also begin to rock a little bit from side to side here. Yeah, there's this continuous conversation about, our pelvic floor and incontinence, which I think the numbers now are around 50 or 60% of men and women suffer from, especially post-delivery for women. There are a number of women who have that, but beginning to heal scar tissue from having abdominal surgery or cesareans. And there's no small surgery as far as I'm concerned. I don't care if it's laparoscopic. Scar tissue is scar tissue, and it's going to affect you no matter what.
Mm-hmm.
Yeah? So this is beautiful for cesareans and to regain connection to abdominals, right? There are a lot of women, which I obviously am one, so I'm quite passionate, and I'm a mother of two, and I'm really passionate about talking about pregnancy and postpartum, but women lose their connection to their abdominals after they have babies. And this is a great way of being able to reconnect.
Yeah, you have to allow your consciousness to go to this area that it may not have lived in for a while, right? It's like almost in the shadow of your being. And so it's great. It's really, it's actually waking up parts of my psyche, just like letting go of especially the abdominals.
Yeah. Okay, let's take the ball out and stay on your belly. So just slip it out, stay on your belly, lay down, relax your feet, and take a breath. So right away, you already had amazing facilitation of your breath. You had a great amount of access. But right away, you can see that there's almost an infinite amount of breath that it seems like you can take. And what happens is that for many people, they feel as though their spine is now on the floor. Like once the abdominal wall has softened, and that there's space now in the vertebra behind you as well.
Mm.
And when you're ready, there's no rush, even though it's live, but you'll flip over and become supine and just tell me how it feels in the hip flexors, if that's changed that conversation.
Really interesting because we didn't really stretch the hip flexors. Want to go flat?
Yeah.
I don't even feel the hip flexors anymore.
Yeah.
Like gone. I don't feel anything there.
Because
And it
they're
was tight as hell when we got here.
yeah.
This feels really spacious.
Yeah.
Like my torso. I feel like I've elongated my torso through the low back.
Well, you have.
Well, then my experience is consistent.
Yeah. Yeah, I mean, we lose, when we sleep at night, we regain, fluid between our discs. And so you're taller in the morning than you are by the end of the day because you're up and you're vertical and you're walking around and gravity is doing its job. And we're sitting and a lot of people are hunched over and creating compression in their lumbar spine and losing space. So what happens with that too is that with all of that repetitive curling up of the body from sitting, and you're putting the back on tension when you're shortening the front of your body, we just opened up the front of your body and lengthened it, right? Which then again, to be repetitive, opened up the spine. Yeah.
No, but I mean, it feels it.
Yeah.
And I feel just as good as I would having done a 90-minute yoga session, I'll tell you that for sure. Like my Shavasana is like on.
So let's address one other thing if we have time for it. I have no idea where we are because I get lost in...
How are we doing? What's our time marker?
Yeah, you're good.
Cool.
Okay.
Selfishly? Hell yeah.
Yeah. Ditto. So here's your alpha ball. You're going to take this one. Let's bring it underneath your right glute.
This is a significantly bigger ball.
Significantly bigger ball. So bend your right knee like a butterfly, Baddha Konasana. Yep. And bend your left knee and foot on the floor. That's it. So that's your driver. Just stay here. Just like we did with the ball and the front of the belly, right? There is no rush. We rush enough. This is about slowing down and feeling. Yeah. So for some, right away, they'll want to just scream and kick the ball out of here. If someone's suffering from sciatica or piriformis syndrome, or even just tight external rotators, a way to kind of bypass some of that is to put it on tension. So you actually can inhale and squeeze the glutes on the right side. So you kind of rise up above the ball. And then you take an exhale and you release.
Sink into it.
Yeah, and bit by bit by bit, the tissue will talk to the ball. And there's so many layers of tissue, right? We have the superficial layer of connective tissue, adipose, and deep fascia. We're going layer by layer by layer. Yeah.
Feels really good. You get to a certain level where then you could just feel your body trying to be like, hey, no, can you not,
Yeah.
just ease into it.
And sometimes, like trigger point therapy, you want to really move around a high charge point area and not necessarily go to the apex of it because it might be too much. So you listen to that and you go next to it, just go lateral, and then talk to that. And when you roll everything around that tissue, then the apex can start to release itself as well. And then we'll begin to roll a bit from side to side. So use your left foot as the driver. Instead of rocking, I want you to actually try to roll your butt across the ball. So like ping pong your hips. The hips move. That's it.
Okay.
Right to left. That's it.
Oh, yeah.
Now, if somebody is suffering from something like sciatica and they get this electric zing of a sharp pain, that means not right to roll on. Get off.
No.
Move off of that, but go around it. Or you can even roll on this, on the squishy ball, right? It just depends on what your body's telling you.
Just less pressure, less.
Yes, yeah, you find the mode in. And these balls are just one aspect of, the yoga therapy that I teach. It's not just ball and prop work, but this is, yeah.
Hello.
That's the mountain.
That's the mountain.
That's the mountain in the boot.
Well, yeah, that's also like years of kung fu.
Sure, yeah.
Yeah, it's very. I don't meet very many people that don't have overdeveloped external rotators in our culture.
Yes.
And as much as I work to bring in, it's just that's the part that overdoes it.
Yeah. Well, adductors aren't talked about a whole lot either, and in yoga, adductors are not talked about a whole lot either.
Even in Iyengar, they're like always having you externally rotate your hips. So it's like the internal rotation
adduction with that. I don't hear much being done there, and I think that's a challenge. It's like people in the weight room doing all chest,
Right.
no posterior chain.
Right. Yeah.
Oh my goodness.
So see if you can do a circle. See if you can kind of like circle the platter, your glute.
Oh.
Yeah, all the way around.
I feel like the ball's sliding down. a
Okay,
little
yeah,
bit.
you can bring it back up. Different clothing can
Yeah.
slip off of also. It's good to do in your birthday suit.
Yeah.
Yeah, that's it. See, so get a sense of what's happening in your right hand right now. Yeah.
It's the same as the expression on my face.
Yeah. Yeah. And then you can roll your left hip up and get the ball to the outside of the right hip. So we want to get to greater trochanter.
You can do the whole thing.
Yeah, you can. It depends again on you. It depends on what it's ready for.
Right.
Yeah. Yeah, you want to talk to all of it.
Oh my goodness. That's a problem. Like I've gotten a lot of massage in my life, and they just kind of like move through body parts and kind of do their thing and move on.
Mm-hmm.
Sometimes you just got to stay there.
Yeah.
Like this right here is releasing the front
Right.
inside the socket.
Right.
Like I feel the adductor going.
Yeah.
Like I wouldn't, like if I didn't hang out with this long enough, I couldn't have even penetrated to this depth.
Right.
Right.
But
And-
they're not you. They're not in your body. You know your body. So learn it, you know?
No, but I want someone else to fix
Yeah.
me. Oh,
And I'm a body worker, so I worked on bodies, and I love receiving body work, and I get all that, but yeah.
But there's a psychological stance that you must have. So if you're the type of person who flops on the table and just like fix me,
Yes.
the body worker doesn't stand a chance. I mean,
Right.
I don't care how good you are, like you got to
Right.
work with the person.
That's right.
To do it. So yeah, I mean this feels phenomenal. And it hurts. Like let me be clear. Like this is work right now.
Right.
But I can feel the hip opening.
And pain is the absence of pleasure.
Right.
It's not just it hurts, I shouldn't do it, obviously, which you already know that. But there's a difference between good pain and bad pain, right? Bad pain is it continues to hurt. When you take that ball out or you walk around, you're like, fuck, that really hurt. Versus I take it out and I feel heat, I feel release. I get something called the weird sweats, where like your brow starts sweating or your neck or some strange place, right? Because energy releases in the form of heat. Let's take the ball out and bring the sacrum to the ground and just take a breath before you even change sides. So again, just connecting to,
Wow.
neck.
That is no joke. There's so much energy that gets like stuck in the hips.
Yeah.
I'm high.
Would you like to roll the other side?
Just to balance it, sure. I won't belabor it, given the video thing. Okay, so first just fall into it, right?
Yeah, you can. That's right. Yeah. And every side is different. So it depends on, also what was your power leg when you were skiing? Were you always pushing more, what was it? Yeah. So for some, you can just go right in and roll faster than others. It just depends.
So some of the things that I've realized, though, kind of working with yoga therapists and physical therapists and all this, is like I've had hip pain in my right torus labrum when I was 15 in the martial arts. Just never quite been the same, right? And I always just assumed that my painful side was tighter. And then as I started testing it, it was like absolutely the opposite.
Right.
Like this was the lax side.
That's right.
And that's why I got pain, because when I'd run, then I would just,
That's right.
hit it harder. And so this is definitely my tighter side, although, skiing might have just changed a little bit of that.
Yeah.
But yeah,
Roll
is
from
no-
side to side.
Yeah, this is no joke. Like this is, you can't not feel this.
Yeah.
if
Well,
you feel
pain comes from either being too lazy or from doing too much, right? You can be an elite athlete and have the same feeling in the body of pain as somebody who's a couch potato or sitting for, eons at a computer. But it needs to be, addressed differently. The athlete may need, connective tissue release where the couch potato needs strength.
Strengthening, yeah.
Yeah. Yeah, take a breath too. You also notice when you start to roll and you talk to tissue that is adhered or overused or even underused, right, ignored, and you start to touch it and to palpate it and say and talk to your body, what's going on here? If the breath stops short, one, you're no longer present. You're no longer in your body anymore, right? And you're disassociating and you're trying to get out of what it is
Move
that you're
away from
feeling.
pain,
Yeah.
Yeah, I mean, it's not comfortable. Like, I have to focus in on it.
Right. And again, there'll be certain places of your body, because there's been some grimacing along the way, but there's some places in your body that you'll roll and you'll be like, oh, this is so yummy. Like, this feels amazing. I love this. It's not always, ow, pain.
Yeah. Well, it's also like, okay, so we did the right side and like we're on TV. And so it's like, okay, let's just do the left side for this. But like we actually like took our time on the right, so there's more spaciousness. And some of the challenges I feel like people have with like all this stuff is like, hurry up and stretch, right? And sometimes you just gotta relax into the fucking thing, right?
Yeah.
Like just let it stay as long as it needs to. And most of us don't have permission psychologically. We don't give ourselves permission to stay with something.
Yeah.
And I mean, you got kids at home. I got kids. It's like, good luck doing this for half an hour. You know what I mean? Like,
Yeah.
yeah, I'm gonna have a toy dropped on my face. But you get it where you can.
Hopefully they get down with you and roll. And
My kid does qigong. Everyone, he doesn't like know what he's doing. But he does all these like cutesy like movements to like do qigong with dad. My son, my daughter's not there yet, but it's the best. It really it is.
Well, it's mirror neurons too. I mean, they're picking up on. I mean, that's also a lot of why there's pain in people's bodies, because they picked up on how their parents walked, and moved, and
that's interesting.
so they started to habituate that same movement, and it's like, oh, I have hip pain like my mother does, but that's because you picked up and walked the way they did.
That's interesting. So you habituate after them. Okay, I'm gonna come out nice and slowly. Whew, whew, whew. I feel great.
You can fly now.
Huh?
You can fly.
I can fly. If I just did the reverse Spider-Man and just right on the ceiling there. Okay.
Yeah, I mean, in our ideal world, you would get 20 minutes of
Nap time?
Of nap time.
Shavasana?
Yeah.
Awesome. So how does one find this? You're in LA. You're in Culver
I'm in
City.
Los Angeles. Yeah, I'm in Culver City. I am an integrated certified yoga tune-up teacher. So a lot of what we did today was specifically yoga tune-up. You can go to a yoga tune-up site and find a litany of teachers. We are international. And then you can look up yoga therapists. We have, it's not regulated currently. The IAYT, the International Association of Yoga Teachers, is trying to regulate it a bit. And bit by bit, we're getting a little bit more of that. But you can research yoga therapists. But I'm Tiffany Chambers-Goldberg. I have my own site, tcgyoga.com, and I love to refer out as much as I can and just get people moving.
And you have trusted people that you refer out to,
Amazing,
so you're a trusted source. Great.
Yeah.
Great. Thank you. I feel so great. Thank you.
Thank you.
Thank you very much. Try this at home. Check out her website. Give the URL again.
tcgyoga.com.
And find someone that could do this for you. Let me know what you think. I feel great. Get on the floor, roll some stuff out, and we'll see you next time. Thank you.
Bye.